Alright. Hopefully things are working. I don't know yet. Trying to get everything launched. I just got back. I had to let the dog out. And I just realized I made a couple of mistakes getting ready. Oh, that's great. Ow. Bleep. Bloop. Okay. There's that. Make sure we gotta restart. That's cool. It's lovely. Hopefully the bitrate and everything works fine. I did up the bitrate quite a bit. We're pushing anywhere between 8 and 9K variable, which I think Twitch maxes out a bit higher than that, but yeah, it should be fine. All right, do a quick little mic test, make sure everything sounds good. Yep, sounds great. Make sure filter's good. Switch over to me. Hello, nice to see you again. Hopefully my hair doesn't look too fucked up. I know I got a big strand going over the left eye, but it's inconsequential. And you can hear my voice echoing in the background because I was trying to listen to the audio. But yeah, today we got some more fun stuff. We're going to finish off our questing for Wuwa. Yeah, Wuwa. Is that what we were doing? Yeah, we were doing Wuwa. Trying to remember where we left off. I want to say we were in Murmurstown. Game's not responding. There it goes. Yeah, we were in Murmurstown. I've not done anything since we arrived in Murmurstown, and everyone was like petrified and fucking scared. And then there was like one guy who it kept saying was like a cowardly fucking. It was like cowardly gladiator, but it's like the dude was literally staring death in its face, not giving a shit, just a little scaredy-weirdy. So I don't think that classifies as cowardly. I don't think. I don't know. I just remember making a note of it. And oh, Arsenosa, wonderful. Let's run the fuck away because oh shit, we have a lot less. I thought we would have hit cap, but I guess we did a little bit of farming again last night. But we have the login events. Let's go ahead and get those out of the way. We got this one, which gives us 2 character pools, which is hype. We're gonna save those for Then we've got podcast for logging in. Let's go ahead and do that. We need to do our daily, wherever that's set. Yeah, we need to do forgery too. Shit, man. Latte stuff. Yep, daily quest. Zip on over back to Hong Kong and get that done with. Be a lot of shit. I want to say the story left off with, to anybody who didn't see or whatever, we went to the hunting grounds, we chased down the big T-Rex. T-Rex became scared of Goop. So, yeah, like, T-Rex was scared of Goop. Goop was scared of Bo from Then, in its fear, Goop turned into Person Man Thing, who's, like, I think they called him, like, the False Sentinel or something like that. I can't remember the naming. But, turned into that. and then nearly killed Yuno, and then Rover like saved her and shit, so that was cool. And then why did he bind to the fucking goat? But yeah, took care of that, and then turns out we were just hunting the T-Rex to like bait it out, but the plan didn't work or something. And then turns out that like one of the frequencies or some shit was like the Black Shores came in contact. Apparently the Rover is hiding that he's the leader of the Black Shores, which rubbed me really weird. I don't know why the Rover would feel that to be necessary, but he does. So that's cool. He's collecting L's, in my opinion, especially after the Frolova thing.
First to the treasure.
No, we dropped 9 frames. I need to keep an eye on that because I don't know why. We've lost a total of 18 frames, actually. So a third of a second. Weird. Not sure why that's happening. I'll have to check that. But, yeah, and then... Oh, wait, is this a puzzle? Yeah, let's do a puzzle. Why not? Do a fun little puzzle. Probably goes there, and then there's probably like an L that goes right there. And then there's this weird-ass looking thing. Oh, I had it. Yeah, it was easy enough. But, yeah, so that was like sketching him out or something, or rubbed me weird to hide info like that. Talked to the Black Shores, then they said that they detected something and it was coming from Murmurstown, and that's apparently where Augusta is from. So we're back in her hometown and a whole bunch of other shit, I guess, to try and hunt down this deity thing that came out of the Dark Tide. Another point of fact was that it is born from the Dark Tide, and it is consuming a ton of shit to try and like get big and muscly and strong and kinky, and like, you know, it's getting big for you, big for me. So that's one thing it's doing. And why, I have no idea, but that's what it's doing. One more weapon pool. And nothing from it. Unfortunate. Pioneer. Flamies. I also decided that I need to, I do need to obtain Static Mist for Mortefi, which throws a wrench in things for my Chikona plans. Because I was just going to grab a Static Mist and throw it on her and call it a day. But supposedly Mortefi works pretty well with Augusta, and I have him S5. And his cast attack of all team... Yeah, that S6 is really strong. I want that S6. Don't have it yet, but would like it. And he's not on the banner. It is what it is. Yeah, I think we're well on our way to get the Static Mist. Kinda, but not really. And then on the limited weapon banner, we are looking at what pity? 35? So a little over halfway there. Not great, not terrible. Can't really be too upset or too asked about it. And then we were building, what character were we building? Were we building Shorekeepies? I think we were building Shorekeeper. Yeah, we were. Let's go keep leveling her up. Yeah, doing the echo farming. Fuck, that was messed up on so many different layers. Doing the echo farming is gonna suck for all of these characters. And this boss is a pain in the ass to fight. It takes for fucking ever to charge up.
Loading. Terminate. Rectify. Iron graft renewed.
At the helm.
I'm clicking game. I've got to figure out what's fucking up input across my games because it's becoming a bit of an issue.
Found your weak spot.
That was easy enough. I also need to remember to do weeklies this week because I don't think I've done weeklies. But that should be enough to ascend Shorekeep. Never fucking mind. Oh, I guess we're gonna just spend all of our resin getting, or all of the wave plates getting her leveled up. I don't think... Remaining attempts 0 out of 3. That said, we do have the specialty book, or the supply pack, I mean, that'll let us get stuff, so that's good.
Glory demands more. A new era awaits.
Pop it?
Leave it to me. Loading.
Yeah, we really gotta farm echoes for Carlotta because right now she is doggy poopy doo doo. I would fuck that up.
Epic shot. Victory's mine.
All right, Shorekeeper can be leveled. So that gave us, it gives us 4 each time.
Understood.
And we're going to need how many?
I have received an invaluable treasure from you. Something infinitely close.
Oh, we need
to
fucking
what
shell
humans
credits.
call
We need shell credits
soul.
bad. Oh, that sucks. We're broke. Chat, we are broke. So we're gonna have to fix that. I also need to do a bitrate check. That's the shell credit one. And I want to go by quickly. So we will just, yeah, we'll do the dream team. Now I'm gonna watch this preview over here because we did up the bitrate, so I'm just curious how that's gonna play out. We'll see.
The fruit of evolution. Luminous energy. With me, glory is upon us. Triumph at the stanchion.
More passion.
Bonk. Fuck it, yeah, we'll just get shell credits. Shell credits for days. Bitrate looks good. Visual fidelity looks great. Just looks good. Lots of good. It's good everywhere. Bring that to -5. No more frames lost. Did not mean to do that. What was I doing? I got distracted. Okay. Eventually my brain will calm down. I'm sure. Alright, yeah, this is something I wanted to test. In the VOD that Twitch downloaded, there was a really, really weird black mist fog that just accumulated over Brant. It's kind of there. It looks like a strange shadow artifact kind of thing going on, but it's not terrible. Whoa. We're getting probably, what, 15 FPS right now? Damn. Okay. Let's go ahead and level Shorekeeper, get her leveled up.
I am here to serve your will.
Maxed out at 80. So we're gonna need 16, so another 4 fucking runs to get her maxed out. Which blows massive chunkery dues. Yeah, we're just shell credit limited now. That sucks. We're gonna have to dedicate like a day's worth of wave plates to actually get anywhere with that. Here's what it is. How are we doing on level 67? Quebsts. That's a fun one. But yeah.
The wind rises.
Her ER, I think, needs more.
Understood.
Yeah, 184. We are nowhere close. But we need an ER 3 cost, I think. Like, we're gonna have to do double. Yeah. We could be really lazy and use one of the converters and just change the main stat over if we wanted. 928. Big, Our health will take a pretty big hit. Swap this out. I mean, that's a 36.4%. It'd take a lot to make up for that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I want to build Shorekeeper. But it's not fake yet. Yeah. Could just make her a pure healer and say fuck it to the damage output. I don't know, I kind of want to get her ER up, so I'm going to do something really stupid and dumb and just convert one. Because I really don't want to farm it, and we've got 122 of them. We'll be fine. So I'm modifying a 3-cost rejuvenating glow, and it needs to be, I think, the Rocksteady Guardian counted. We'll modify that, turn it into energy regen, modify, run it, and then we'll just sail with whatever it gives us.
Understood. I am here to serve your will.
For a second there, I was concerned I fucked up. Might still have, but I doubt it. ER, upgrade, at all. Thankfully, it's cheap to upgrade echoes. It's like the opposite of Genshin, where this just drains every resource imaginable in Genshin, but here it doesn't. Okay, we made back some HP, so not as bad as it could have been. And we still have nowhere near enough ER, which is phenomenal. Holy shit. How the hell do we get enough? Do these buff? No, they don't. Yeah, exactly. Shorekeeper's ER goes up by 10. So that puts us at 226, assuming we get that ability. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. We are going to give her a shot, though. What we'll do is go to teams. We'll swap out Verena. And I just realized I've not maxed out fucking Verena either.
Be it a direct command.
That's one of those things about being a new... Oh yeah, I didn't change the title. I need to update the day. Because today is day 79. Alright, yeah, let's get back to the story. May run to the restroom, actually. Yeah, I'll teleport us back in. I'll run to the restroom, and then we'll get started. We'll knock out the main story, I guess, today. Is the goal. Ideally, I'd like to get it done in the next hour and a half. That way I have time to do Lord of Mysteries on time. Regardless if Lord of Mysteries rolls around, I'm going to prioritize that. We'll take a break from the game and go run that. But ideally, I would like to not pause game. But yeah. So I'm going to run to the restroom and see you in just a moment. So I'll be right back. Oh, I was muted. That's rough. I'm back. We got Balto. Everything's looking great. We're pretty fucking smooth on this, what you call it? Whoa, what? Whoa, what? There are 5 people here and I only know 3 to 4 of them. In the stream? Oh yeah, we do have 5 people. Welcome and hello, any lurkers.
You take the upper
Feel free to
area
talk
over.
if you want,
I'll
but no
take the
worries if
lower.
you don't want to.
If you spot any signs of the Sovereign or run into trouble, let me know right away.
Youth count. Means to be a magnum. Neat. I don't know.
This place is too quiet. No trace of the Sovereign anyway.
It is a sovereign. Okay. I remember the name. Let's go. I was
Hey, Boulain.
borderline drunk last
me
night
track
with sleep
down the Sovereign.
deprivation.
You got it. Give me a sec to scan things. Sorry, boss. The frequencies around you are all over the place. I can't get a clear reading. The Sovereign's a slippery eel, eating up every little frequency like it's popcorn. Now the Tethys system's got nothing to work with. It's playing hide and seek with us on purpose. What trouble?
Weird.
Hold on. What if you bring me some pure dark tide frequency samples?
Thank God. I had a cable caught in the chair.
Maybe Tethys can use it to track down something with a similar frequency, like the Sovereign itself or the original dark tide. Could give you a
Understood. I'll do what I can.
Yeah, lurker gang.
Abby? Abby? Wake up.
What's going on? Ugh, I'm so sleepy.
Don't talk about sleep. I can't fall asleep.
That dark, spooky stuff I ate earlier is still gurgling in my belly.
Sorry to hear that. But if my clever, brave, stylish, and sweet Abby could help me out, that'd be amazing.
He has really big ass hands.
Aw, you're making me blush. Okay. Your best buddy Abby's on the job. Go on.
So, that thing we tangled with before has gone into hiding around here. I need your help to sniff it out.
Sniffy sniffers.
Easy peasy. You know,
Speaking
I
of sniffy
have a good
sniffers.
nose for searching.
The best sniffy sniffer in the world. I don't know if that came through.
Find anything?
The whole place smells like a dumpster fire. And that monster, I can't tell where it is exactly. The scent's all muddled. There's something weird over there.
Yeah, that is pretty fucking weird. What the fuck is that?
Is that a waystone?
Look like objects that look like giant stone statues. They are often found near heavily traveled routes or high vantage points, serving as navigational markers for passerby. Some argue that these waystones are a special type of echo formed from fervent, emotional frequencies of gladiators who traveled through these areas. This theory, however, remains controversial in academic circles, so they don't know what the fuck it is?
I've seen those back in Septimont City. They're like signposts for Outlanders.
Why do I bother reading? They always explain it in the next line.
Let's check it out.
I guess it did give a little bit of backstory or context or whatever to it, but
This the one?
Yeah, this is it.
Its right arm is missing. Isn't it supposed to be pointing in that direction?
maybe. I don't
Yes.
fucking know.
It wouldn't be a waystone if it didn't show the way.
That's a good point.
Something just flew by that way.
Yeah.
It's that muddled scent again. Come on, we gotta catch it.
See, now OBS is caught up to there being 5 viewers, which is funny because the Twitch overlay stuff was a little behind.
Look, it stopped over there.
Okay. Let me go! Alright. Whee! Raw dog it. Strong ankles.
It's gone. Is it hiding among those strange statues over there?
They're not statues, my dude. They are people.
Wait,
Which I guess they've been turned into statues. Is that how that works? Like, is every guy that Medusa... I guess, yeah. They would be statues.
They must be the
just
hollow figures
fleshy on the
Augustus mentioned.
inside. Unless they're fully turned into stone. And in that case, that would just further the argument that they're statues. I don't fucking know.
No, I can't get any closer. Maybe I can split off the Dark Tide's influence.
Yeah, just slice anything that's in the way. Blue eyes. I wonder if he's got a white dragon. That looked like a person sitting there. I don't... Oh, yeah. This isn't fucking creepy at all. Moving light dots will awaken the sleeping hollow figures. Along the way, proceed with caution. The awakened hollow figure can be shattered. Approaching a hollow figure will cause it to charge up and explode the summoning tacit discords. Shattering the hollow figure before it completes charging up can prevent the summoning. Got it, so I need to... Ah, well. Too fucking late, I guess.
It worked.
Get bonked.
Nope. That troublemaker's off again.
Damn it. I have a feeling I'm not gonna be able to fucking do any of these. Bonk. Bonk. Never mind, I say. I'm towing it. I'm towing it. God damn it. The line came to an end.
Leave it to me.
Now it's hiding inside a tacit discord?
That's kinky.
Don't
Oh.
worry. Flush it
What a
out.
funny place to put chests.
The wicked will face judgment.
Bonk, bonk. Oh, fuck.
Tempest of slashes.
We got bubbled. It's showing me gears I didn't know I had. I'm being towed. They're towing it.
Unfettered by bounds. The wicked.
Your hide and seek game is over.
Time to finish it.
There we go.
The wicked will
Bonk.
face judgment.
And then into this guy. Yep. Let me swipe him. Let me swipe her. Oh. Investigate. Cute sword. I really like the sword. It's a good looking sword.
A piece of cloth. It looks like something from a gladiator's gear. But
That it does.
why here?
This frequency is something else.
Is that the same muddled scent you mentioned before?
Well, it's got a bit of that smell, but the fabric's frequency is even stronger. It's not giving in. Kinda like a brave gladiator fighting a monster.
Kinky.
See, that waystone with the missing right arm had a sleeve that was torn.
Why don't we take it to the statue? Maybe it will unlock the next clue.
They keep calling her weak, but she very damn well might be the best DPS in the game. Hold on, I never said this.
And shed the bitterness of your pitiful shadow.
I'm having to redo the wiring to the camera real quick. Okay, so it's like a Threnodian trying to tempt her into being all goopy. Which wouldn't be good, because then Yuno would be afraid of the goop. But then she would be afraid of the bow. Maybe it's a good deal, because the T-Rex is afraid of the goop.
Rather than earned, could never truly be mine.
There we go. That's a good outlook to look at it as, I think. Maybe, I don't know.
This power strips me of my will. How can I be sure where my sword will strike?
I don't know. Swing it.
I reject such a gift.
Hell yeah. Fuck you, weird hallucinogenic voice. Oh, fuck, my butt is glowing.
Augusta?
No, never mind. It's a phone call.
Locations on your terminal.
That's a
I'll wait for
fucking
you there.
sequence of words.
Copy. On my way.
Oh man, we dropped a frame. Deliver cloth. We're clothing it? Wait, isn't that just clothing? We're clothing it? We're clothing it.
The clash of battles long past is proof of my unyielding will. Travelers who've braved the path, press onward. Step into the dark, where forsaken truths and forgotten words slumber.
This is a Sonoro.
Oh.
Ah, the muddled smell makes sense now.
A gladiator who fought the dark tide in Murmurstown to his last breath. His frequency still lingers.
I feel like I recognize his voice too. I just don't know who that is.
For showing us the way ahead. Augusta, over here.
Hello. Hi. It does look like an Elden Ring NPC. It literally looks like the Elden Ring like statues that point. They're all over the map.
All right, time for Abby's rundown. So, Rover and I were tracking that shadowy monster fella. And I followed its scent right to, this Sonoro. Well, kinda. It's not the exact same scent.
Kind of strange they didn't do a black
close.
screen that says Abby
It's
told
also
her
kinda
everything.
muddled.
They instead just had Abby tell her everything.
Right. The frequencies the Black Shores detected in both Murmurstown and from the Sovereign are unusually complex. To track the Sovereign, we'll need to help by isolating a pure dark tide frequency. I wasn't sure where to start, but Abby's been a big help.
Aww.
Don't mention it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Sniffy sniff.
I
Oh, what the
assume
fuck?
this is your echo friend,
Buddy?
who saved us in
You
the
okay?
Asphodel Barrens.
Ian just tried to jump up on the desk and absolutely ate shit.
You have my gratitude.
Hold on. Chungy. Chungy boy. Hold on, I'll full screen it. I'm full screening it. I'm full screening it. I'm full screening it. Look at the kitty. Look at the cat. Oh, he says meows. He wanted up here so bad. Now he's gonna act like he wants down. Here's some ears, because he's a weird little kitty boy. He's so sweet. Here's some ears. Cat cam. Cat cam. Cat cam. Cat cam. Okay. We're done. That's enough cat cam, I guess. Oh, buddy. Did you want more pets? Here, I'll make room. I'll make room. Here. I'll move the notebook. Here. Lay down. Don't step on the laptop. Don't step on the laptop. Goofy ass cat ass, am I right? Okay, back to the game. Unless... Okay. Oh wait, nope, wrong one. There we go. Ian, get off the laptop. Bad kitty. Bad kitty. I swear to God.
No biggie.
The level of power it showed is indeed questionable for an
Cat Belly is dexterous?
but I trust it as much as I trust you. No need for explanations between allies.
You say that. You say that, but we're hiding that we're the leader of the Black Shore, which is weird. Don't really know why. It's still weird. I don't know why he would hide that. It seems strange.
Through me enter the city
Oh,
of
yeah.
eternal bliss.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yet all who
Yeah,
enter
Ian's
must
talented.
first forsake all hope.
Oh, so we're going into hell. Right? That's the quote. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. We're just going into hell. Damn.
Sounds like a
Wuwa
song.
beat Genshin to Conria, I
Lyrics are
guess.
Pretty intense, though.
Sonoro, what do you want to show us?
It is weird that he hides that, but I don't feel like it's as significant. I feel like it would be like... I don't know. I don't know what the one-to-one would be.
Let's enter it.
It just seems like a big deal where it's like, hey, we should all trust one another and work together and be on the same team. But also I'm going to neglect to tell you that the, like, organization that you're working alongside, I'm the head of. Ooh, we get to see it rebuilt. Oh, that's fucking sick. That was a cool-ass transition. Holy shit.
Are we still in Murmurstown? No. There are small differences.
This is Murmurstown, only from the past. It was once called Fabianum, the town of gladiators, visited by Fabius, the hero of heroes. But the dark tide claimed it in the end, leaving
Augusta.
Nope, did not mean to do that. My bad. Oh, hey, look, people talking. That's good. I wonder if we're going to get to hear Child Augusta.
Lingering frequencies from the past.
Also, I feel like this is further proving
might
that
lead us
Furlovo
to
was right.
answers.
Like, if this Sonoro exists, and then Furlovo was just right all along.
I didn't see you by the Oak Hollow today. You promised we'd go explore Main's Deep together. But don't tell me you got roped into errands again.
That sounds vaguely like Buling.
Sorry.
Like the same accent.
Otto got hurt, and Uncle Philo shot on help at the shop, so I volunteered. But I lost track of time. Alright. But isn't it odd how people always come asking you for help? We're children, after all. I don't know. Me neither. Oh, I guess it is high tide season. Uncle Philo must be busy at his forge. Even Ma and Pa are busy preparing for the hunt. If only we could find our way to Main's Deep. Maybe we'd hear the hero of heroes whispers and gain a mighty resonance, just like in Grandma Rosa's stories. If I were strong enough to join the hunt, maybe Ma and Pa wouldn't have to work themselves to the bone. You're strong to me, Angel. Sometimes I wish I could be as strong as you. I don't think I've ever had your gifts. Father always said, you swing a sword fine enough, but your resonance ability is average at best. Not gladiator material. Average? I don't believe that for a second. Come on, let me see your hand.
You missed it, Magnum. There was a fuckload of feet cam yesterday. Like, easily over 100 times there was feet cam. Just on repeat, constant feet cam. Whenever Yuno comes back, I'll screech because there will be feet on the screen. I just don't know where she went. They made such a fucking... Only Crimson's gonna get this, but they made such a point of her feet being a, like, sole focus of her character that her resonance tattoo is on her fucking foot.
I'm going to
Yeah, you gotta watch out for flying plates. Oh, my feet cam? Okay, hold on. Let me go piss and I'll show you my feet. Give me a second. Alright, I had to fill up Yin's water bottle in the sink. I'll let you put two and two together, but hold on. We got fucking feet! Yeah, toes! 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 Ah! Ow, fuck, I just kicked the desk. That hurt. Okay, that's enough feet action. You'll have to pay if you want bare feet.
It's not his fault. I was just being careless. I asked to borrow some of his old
I'm glad I could please, Crimson.
and if I worked fast enough, he'd let me.
Oh, shit. Boop.
Grandma Rosa said you need 2 lives to reach Main Steep. We don't
Orange.
have our swords yet. We're missing a life, so I thought if I could get us some.
Orange. You like orange. The shoe tread. Oh. Fuck, hold on. Yeah, it is like a burnt orange kinda sorta. I just realized I need to replace these. The tread is going away. Hold on. Yeah, it's like a... I don't know. I would say it's red more than I would orange. It's like a clay red. Like, it looks like Play-Doh. And then this is like a yellow. This is making me realize how horrifically skewed the color is on my camera right now. Because this is really definitive yellow, and then this is like clay red. I wonder if it shows up more if I get it away from the lights. I don't know. Damn, I really like these shoes. I'm so sad that the tread's going away. It's still got enough, but I'm not going to be able to trail run in these. Properly, at least. Damn. That sucks a lot. Oh, Magnum, fucking restart yo shit, homie. Get your, get back up to speed on the stream.
Not this again. You really can be a handful sometimes.
Yes, 16 years ago. Right before the dark tide hit.
5 seconds behind. That could be Discord's latency
Again.
filed in as well. If he's lagging, I don't know.
I think it's trying to lead the way for us this time. We should follow it.
I'm following it. I am following it. Are there chests?
It's hovering by those phantoms.
No. Oh, more conversations.
There you are. Oh, I was looking everywhere for you. Here,
Oh.
take some of these candies. Grandma Rosa gave them to us.
That's nice of her.
Hey, do you think what Grandma Rosa said about Main's Deep is real? Like, if I really had the hero of heroes whisper in Okolo, do you
If I
think-
really heard the hero of the hero story whisper in the Oka Hollow. I can't really take the accent too seriously. It's goofy coming out of a child. Which is funny because from Augusta it's been mostly fine, but coming out of a child it feels more like a meme.
saying how awful this dark tide will be?
Yeah, I noticed that there's 6 people here. I don't know who the hell anybody is. I don't know where they're all coming from.
It won't heal.
I'll take it though.
Never be a gladiator now. In that case, why not try your luck in Oak Hollow?
Never mind, we're back down to
You can
5.
take my sword. Just make sure to bring it back to Uncle.
You think the feet scared them away?
Aren't you coming too?
Part of me was hoping I would see a little follower notification the second I got feetsies out.
You can't reach Main's Deep without your sword. It's okay.
Oh, and they left because the feet went away. You might be onto something.
I'll find a way to get more swords, so everyone can have one.
That little girl. Does her voice sound familiar to you? I feel like I've heard it.
Gee, I wonder who it could be. Sorry.
We've got no other leads for now. Let's check it out.
More phantoms of the past.
I swear to God, if Magnum invited someone on the promise there would be feet, that would be really fucking funny. Because you say that as if you know for certain.
Oh, you wouldn't believe what.
I'm towing it. Wait, why the fuck? Actually, hold on.
It's cutting out. I can't hear what it's saying.
Lizard, 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 lizard.
Okay, just making sure it works.
Rover, that floating thing. Seems like it's distracted. Something's messing with it, but I can't see what. Feels like, I don't know, like there's an invisible wall cutting us off.
Well, let's go find the invisible wall.
Another waystone. That can't be just a coincidence. It led us
Oh,
into
well.
the Sonoro. Maybe it can
It is
lead
right
us
on the money.
out.
What is this? Foot Yellow. Twitch Global. Why is there a global emote called Foot Yellow that doesn't have feet? Those would be some really long toes, though. They'd be like my toes, because I got the, I got finger toes, or whatever they're called.
You're saying we should use it to leave the Sonora.
Actually, yeah. You guys want to see my
and
fucked up
whatever's
feet?
Messing with us might be coming from outside.
On the next follower, I'm gonna
It's
whip
worth
out the
trying.
dogs. I'll whip them out raw. No, follow them. No, it all fell apart.
Can't believe we actually.
Oh fuck! Nah, I didn't catch on to that quick enough.
Really was that.
Don't worry. Leave him to me.
Oh wait, we have Augusta. Yeah, fuck it. We'll just use her.
Mirage of conquest in control.
This should work.
That's a cool mechanic. I see what we're gonna do. Yeah, switch. Yep. See, this is some cool engine shit right here. This is the power of Unreal.
Seems like our little.
Just
floating
change
rug
an
is
entire
finally
fucking
fun.
environment. That's really sick. Yeah, that's what I'll do. If someone donates money, I'll show dogs. I'll whip out the toes, the soles, all of it. Or if they just follow. Honestly, I'll take anything.
Laps with Edric, and guess what? He got so dizzy, he tripped over his
I will say I've got some interesting feet. I got little, like, I got 3 toes that are all the same length. And then a fucked up pinky toe. It is getting Kojima coded. If there was an IR blaster on the camera where you could like scan it and 3D model it, it would be even more so. You know what? Story time. There is a fucking company that I signed up for years ago, and my friend did too. His name starts with J. And we signed up for like this website that was training like an AI advice model on buying climbing shoes, right? And the premise, or like the... Yeah, I guess the proposal out of this company was that they were going to take a huge assortment of what shoes people find comfortable and what shoes and brands and stuff fit your foot and all of this stuff, right? Like climbing shoes. Because climbing shoes are really difficult. You know, long story, but it's like some are narrow, some are wide, some have like a tight heel and some have a looser heel. And it's like, you know, trying to figure out which one's going to fit your feet is really difficult, right? And like different materials, some are rigid, some are soft. Soft's better for indoors and on like artificial rocks. Stiff ones are better for outdoors because you could like, it's more durable and it's better for crack climbing, regardless. And they wanted like photos of your feet and like scanned information on your feet so that they could create that database and then compare that with what you have found to be the most comfortable for your feet, so that their finalized product could be like, hey, take a photo of your foot, and based on the photos of your feet, it'll create like a 3D model, and then compare that to the database of everyone who submitted their info, and then suggest your fucking, like, the ideal shoe, and like the shoe size, and the brand, and the model, and all of that, right? Nothing has come from that. I sent feet pics to some fucking probably Italian AI crypto bro, and now he just has a database of probably thousands of fucking feet. Every one of them are going to be from a dude. There is no shot in hell that a single woman contributed to that, which might actually be part of why it failed. But my feet are just out there. There is just a 3D model of my foot stored on some server, unless they sold it. Same with my friends. And I thought it was a cool idea because I went through a ton of effort trying to figure out what shoes I should wear. And then I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll contribute to science. And I just got fucking scammed. And I was warned that I was being scammed. I was warned that that they wanted fucking feet pics, but I didn't believe them. I chose to trust, and it got me there. So yeah. I back to children.
You. Black and blue,
yeah, exactly.
Grinning like a goat. All right,
it would have been so useful.
To that thick-skulled Emmerich this time, huh? You're hurt pretty bad. Guess that means no Oak Hollow then. Not that it matters. I bet there's still nothing there but moss and mud.
Oh, he was picking on the little ones. I couldn't just stand there and watch. So I told him, learn how to kneel before asking others to. And that's when he snapped.
Couldn't beat him, but still threw down. That's just like you. By the way, I heard things aren't going too well at the Hunter's Den. Ma and Pa haven't come home in days, and the whole town...
No, that bodes well.
We ought to return those swords to Uncle Philo, too. Anyway, Main's Deep will have to wait a bit longer.
It's okay. We'll go after the high tide passes.
Really? Thought you'd be storming around about. What if the whispers are real? And the great resonance ability too? Maybe that's how we end up...
So did she make a deal with some spooky glorp or something to get her power? Or is she just rags to riches type shit? Kind of like was implied by the epilogue.
It is.
Bona's towing it? She's towing it?
The priestesses say that
she's being shown gears she didn't know she had?
Even the dark tide won't scare you.
Makes sense. Not
just
You was there too.
the hero of heroes. Feels a long way off for us. But
can I time out users? How do I ban people?
the dark tide disappeared.
No, 600 seconds. Yeah, no, that's a bit overkill. I don't want to ban you for 10 minutes. Just know I thought about it.
To be true. But if that's all it takes, you've done it already, Augusta. But skip Enric. Making a louse like him grin shouldn't count.
Augusta.
That's me.
Yeah, no shit. Oh my god, what?
Denying it.
I never would have. Oh my
I
god.
thought I might keep my foolishness as a child from you.
Oh, is it? Oh, damn it, it is frozen. Fuck. I was doing such epic reacts. Hold on, I'll fix it. Bloop, bloop. Oh, did Yen eat shit? Oh, I have no idea. They're just talking about her being a child so far. Dude, what is happening to my camera? Hold on. If you see my dick and balls, just know I didn't mean for it. Okay, it's gonna take me a second to fix the camera. Not too long, but enough. I'll have it up in just a moment. Now I need to make a technical difficulty screen for when we're technically difficultying it. Okay, so the issue is that the cable wasn't supplying enough power, so the camera died. That said, maybe. All right, yeah, we're back. If it freezes again, let me know. It'll just mean that it's died again, and I'll need to throw it on a fast charger to buy like a buffer. So we'll just have to stream without a camera for like 15 to like 30 minutes or whatever, just enough for it to fast charge. But yeah, appreciate you letting me know. Weird. I don't know why. I thought I had it fully charged before the stream, just for this reason of like if it outpaces the charging. I've also not had the flash on for that reason, so I don't know. Yeah, it's a 2% battery. I'm gonna hold the camera preview over here and just keep an eye on it. If I see it drop to 1, then I'm gonna call it early and just do that.
I mean, Fabianum is your hometown?
We already knew that.
It's been a long time. I never imagined I'd see my past like this.
Yeah, I can imagine it's quite traumatic.
I'm curious.
About Main's Deep and the Oak Hollow?
Yeah.
The name Fabianum once stood for glory.
Pinky?
As Septimon's front line against the Dark Tide, it held the honor of receiving legends, like Fabius, Attilius, and Valeria. Perhaps that's why Hero of Heroes' tales always lingered here. The most popular one was the tale of a great journey to Main's Deep, the ruins of an ancient civilization.
Ancient.
It was said that if you brought 2 lives, yourself and your sword, you'd be granted entry.
Oh yeah, we're at 1% battery.
And within, you'd hear the unceasing whispers of the legendary heroes.
Yeah, I need to grab the charger, I guess. I guess I'll wait for it to die and I'll go do that.
Whispers, they say, capable of awakening resonance ability, as mighty as the hero's own.
Oh, yep, there it went. Okay.
As for the
All right, let me do that.
Children's tales. No one ever knew if it was real.
All right, we're gonna get a camera upgrade real quick. Quite the fucking upgrade, I guess. All right. Visual upgrade. Does it look better? This is what a updated Samsung will do for you, I guess. Holy shit, it looks so much fucking better. It's not even funny. It's on the opposite side. This would be the correct way. Well, this is mirrored. Yeah. Wait, no, this is mirrored. So that's on my right. Yeah, and it looks better on the stream. Yeah. Yeah, this is how it was. Damn, if somebody's gonna follow or subscribe, this is the time, because then you get the high fidelity on the feet. Just saying.
But Fabianum never
I also
found
think this is gonna die pretty soon. The battery's at like 11%.
The name was lost.
Yeah, on the full cam chat pops up
A scar that Septimont
if you
refuses
type in
to
it.
face.
I don't have that on the whatchamacallit video. Yeah, old one's charging right now. It's already at 10%, so it should be back up and running soon. We'll see.
The whole town held out until the very end. Yet no aid ever came from the city of Septimont.
Also, this is on Wi-Fi. It's not even plugged in. So let me know how the latency is.
Later.
If it's off by a little bit, I don't really mind, but if it's off by a shitload, let me know.
Fabianum fell. Most of the Senate lords were still sound asleep in their warm beds. It wasn't the dark tide that doomed my hometown, but those in power who were blinded by greed and failed to act.
Damn. That doesn't feel like a fucking climate change associated thing at all.
Forgive me. I let my emotions get the better of me.
Dude, Abby looks like Yin. Just big old chunky
I
tum.
see. Then perhaps I should spend more time with you, like once did.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Look how well that turned out for
why did
Her
the
dogs
Sonora
are dry,
reveal this to us?
so the cat's
Maybe
not
it's
getting
helping us
fed,
find that,
and
pure
fucking
dark-type
she's like dead.
frequency? The scent does feel clearer
That
now.
rhymed.
Less muddled.
Or maybe it meant to show us something more.
A soul who endured the dark tide's corruption and still fights to speak the truth. Huh. His spirit deserves to be remembered. I will go to witness that truth with my own eyes.
Unnamed squibbler.
Those phantoms
Any
are
chests?
bad.
Any chests? No
Looks like
chests?
they've
No
lost
chests?
control.
Okay. Okay, so who's it gonna fucking spawn in? Wait. Can I not? No, I thought I had to yoinky splinky that one. Well, I was just gonna cut down the fucking door, but no. We gotta listen.
Everyone's been. Angel, what do we? Angel, what happened?
Oh, her friend is bleeding out. That's not good.
Stay with me. I'll get you out of here.
Your ass didn't get her out of there because she's not in the main cast.
Monsters everywhere. You won't make it. Not with me. Just leave me.
Rip Angle. That shit was not congruent. It wasn't even a cute.
Did it? I remember being trapped inside with Angel, surrounded by tacit discords. If it hadn't been for a brave gladiator stepping in and fighting them off with his life, none of us would have made it. Perhaps we recreate what happened back then, to stir the phantoms. We defeat the tacit discords, just as that gladiator did.
But they're just phantoms. How do you fight something that's not even real?
Again, we'll fight them outside the Sonoro.
All right, the Waystone.
Kinky. We go and bleep blorp. Then the whole Gleepus glorps. Looks like shit now. Yep, super bad.
Tacit discord. Over there.
Time to work. In control.
Yoink.
Returned to Sonora. It's likely something new to see there.
Oh, time's frozen. Yeah, that's some fucking... that walking with the sword out to the side is very Raiden. It's very kinky. Very, very toes. Come on. Respond to me inputs, please. I want to give inputs into keyboard. We're at 9% battery. Speaking of battery.
So, this is it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to go for a time without battery or without camera.
I'm not on my knees.
Good point.
Not breathing.
Yeah, because he fucking died. He fucking clipped. Oh, is that how she got the first sword? So her first sword is from the guy who died saving her? That's fucking sad. No wonder she feels the need to honor gladiators and shit. This woman's just been spending her entire life paying paying back a blood debt. And her like little ritualistic bind to that blood debt is swords. Yeah, actually, in a culture where your sword means so much. Oh, Angel's gonna die, like, sacrificing herself. This is gonna be fucking depressing. No, is her friend the voice in the tree hole? That'd be sad.
Are you going to face it alone?
Oh man, that was good.
No. Don't. Just come with me. I promised I'd get you out of here. No! Augusta! Augusta!
Rip.
Hey you! Evil monster! Why don't you fight me?
She's scared of the goop.
I'm not scared.
Never mind.
Come on! I'm wide open!
Oh, it's looking at the tree. Is it just gonna shoot past her and go straight for her friend?
Don't look away! I'm not someone you can ignore.
It's ignoring you. It wants your friend.
Not there! Look at me! I said, look at me! Angel! Angel!
The dark tide answers only to strength. Those without it are doomed to be forsaken.
I'm so fucking confused. So is this saying that her friend was stronger than her, or that she was too strong to be killed, so it went for the weakie?
Augusta, my brave yet fragile child. Your strength is far too feeble. Unfit to sate the hunger of the dark tide.
No, well, there's the fucking answer. I don't understand where this is coming from. This entire fucking time, they have continuously been saying that Augusta was super weak as a kid, had no resonance ability, yada yada, squiddy dog poo poo shit, right? 2, the Senate like has like a dude like named Avidius, who I still don't fucking trust like at all, is kind of like played it out that she's super weak and there's no way she's gonna like help save Septimon, and that her weakness is like insanely yeah, exactly, that's basically Avidius. And they're like saying like, yeah, she's like super weak. She's like a little shitterton little pushover. She's like strong, sure. She totally like defeated every gladiator in our country and then like rose to power from like the bottom. But she's super weak and not strong enough, which that's fucking weird. And then like 3, I was thinking in my head like, okay, well maybe the reason that she's like super busted and can like freeze time and control her sword and all this cool shit, right, is like something she maybe earns at the end of this quest, and it's like we get to play her in that state of her post this quest when she unlocks her full potential or some shit, right? But in all the fight scenes we've had with her, she's been freezing fucking time, like her sword comes apart and goes right, like all over the place and stuff. It's really cool. And then she can like jump, it's got like super strength. She literally like punches like a fucking rhino's like dick off, and then she like eats this like one elephant's ball sack, and she's just like rips it apart like Captain America in that log in that one scene. And that's like her during all of these quests and stuff, and they're like, she's so weak. It's like, I don't know, I don't fucking believe it. I don't get where they're going for this.
You want to become a hero, to reign by might. But tell me,
yes,
can the throne of glory be claimed by one soul?
Either some weak-ass piece of shit went up and claimed the throne, or she's not fucking weak and everyone's wrong. I feel like this whole thing, this whole whispering little nugget that we keep hearing is just a little bit of insecurity in our brain that's like manifesting into the goop. It's becoming the goop. Or maybe the goop was your insecurities all along.
No,
it's your mental illness, like, manifested.
And the whispers, they were real.
And that's why she's so busted. She's got fucking body dysmorphia for her own uppercut.
Were words of cruelty. None of it matters now. Those things belong to the past.
Yeah, exactly.
I was a reckless child. A hatchling, flailing with a sword I could barely hold.
Yeah, but you're strong now.
True.
Oh, so she fucking knows she's strong. So it's not her insecurities. It's not her fucking insecurities, dude. Oh my god.
I'm having a fucking stroke.
This is Septimont, a place where ideals bow to strength. As a child, I had no desire for power. But in the city of Septim,
did the Dark Tide literally not just say that she yearns for being mighty? So is the Dark Tide lying? Is the goop a liar? What's the goop lady's name? Fucking Gwyneth Paltrow or whatever? Is it just her?
silence, arrogance, dressed in fame and
Is the big bad enemy of Septimont Gwyneth Paltrow?
no other path. Now, my strength speaks in my stead, and my blade cuts down every slander. All but prejudice. I know well what those parasites
And
in the
pride.
city are plotting. Draped in the temple's name, they manipulate public opinion to secure themselves a place on Capitolini Hill.
I'm sorry if you hear the mic moving. It's my bad.
But their absurd schemes betray only fear.
Mm.
Too afraid to face me, they skulk in the shadows, hoping empty prophecies might bring me to my knees. It's not about belief. It's about not fearing them.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of this goop thing. The T-Rex is scared of goop. Goop is scared of Bo. Bo is scared of Dude Guy from Goop. Dude Guy from Goop is afraid of Augusta. But Augusta's not afraid of prophecy. So she is the top of the food chain. So far.
The dark tide still haunts.
She's the biggest fish.
People live in terror of losing their homeland again. And so they cling to the hope of a hero of heroes. As Septimon's effort, I must stay strong and answer their call. A ruler has no right to falter.
That's a cool line. That's a cool line, dude. Yeah.
If my resonance ability raises doubts about my right to rule, then let the true hero of heroes step forth and challenge me. And if none appear, I will decide whether this title is worthy of the weight of a ruler's glory.
Toes, feet.
One of the prophecies speaks of a hero of heroes, wielding extraordinary power, rising from the dark tides. As I see it, you, Rover, fit that image well. Should it be you? I would gladly accept your challenge.
Rover gets his ass kicked in that fight.
Of immense strength is either a nemesis or a kindred spirit, both of which are intriguing to me and my blade.
Me? Honestly, the thought never crossed my mind.
Bullshit. I don't believe you.
From what I've seen, being a true ruler isn't about having immense strength, whether that's a powerful resonance ability or sheer might. I've met people from Huanglong to Renacida who live with real integrity. Their skills and backgrounds
who had
were all
integrity?
different.
None of them were smoking weed. None of them were named Randy Marsh. There's no integrity anymore.
But what defines them isn't strength or anything that can be measured. It's the spirit they were born with. Resilient, unyielding. That can't be stolen. Believe
Or
me,
can it?
Augusta. I see that same spirit in you.
Okay. She is mother.
I see.
Well, camera went down. No, it's not. Okay. We're at 6%.
Lena once said something similar to me.
Well, that's nice of her. Did she get eaten? Yeah, she got eaten.
What happened within the Oak Hollow remains a mystery. All I know is, when I found her, her resonance ability had grown immensely.
She is the voice in the tree. So her friend's the voice in that hole that's been trying to tempt her. That's why it knows her by name and it wants all the Gleepy Glorbs. And that's what's going to make this big fight with the like weird sentinel thingy so sad, is that it's Augusta having to kill the remnant energy that her friend became into tide, be dark, and now she's the goop, which will mean that Augusta might be scared of the goop. So that'll circle back to the bow and how the bow is afraid of goop. No, the goop is afraid of bow. So her friend is afraid of bow, but Bo is afraid of thingy, but goop is the thingy, so it's like Ouroboros. If someone tuned in for that, I am so fucking sorry. It makes a lot of sense to people who have been watching for the last few days.
I could do
I
nothing but
promise.
watch as she transformed into something no longer human. After that, I never saw her again.
The dark tide occurrence 16 years ago. Its frequency must have been more stable than it is now. Maybe this is the truth the gladiator spirit is trying to share.
Mayhaps, maybe. Let's see what's in the tree. Oh. This is inside that tree. So inside that little tree was a fucking cave. And get this, another tree. Hello.
You defeated the dark tide. That's incredible. And your wounds, they're gone. Thank goodness. Did the whispers give you their cover? Angel, are you? Run.
Damn, she gave that a real, genuine scream so much they had to turn that shit down. But it didn't clip, so she recorded it well.
It's that smell, Rover!
The truth. The dark tide. And the pure frequency. Are you certain that's what we're looking for? How could Angel be carrying the dark tide's frequency?
If anyone can sniff out the truth, it's Abby. But just to be sure, I'll send the data to Buling once
I'm
we're out
lost.
here. The Black Shores will give us an answer.
All right.
I feel like they're gonna have to handhold me here until I heard a little notification like, yeah, I got an achievement. Okay. Shiny. We got 5. We got another 5. That's 10. 5 plus 5 equal 10. 2 plus 2. That's 4. 114. Okay. Back to statue. My hand is like doing this just by itself. I feel like I've been playing too many video games. I need to lay off of it a bit, I guess. After leaving the snort, I'll pretend I read that and knew what it meant or said.
Filters, and we've zeroed in on one spot in the hunting grounds. Pretty sure that's where the Sovereign's been hiding.
That's good.
I'm sending you the coordinates now.
So,
okay.
The frequency we collected really was from the dark tide.
Yeah, looks that way.
I'm gonna move this like right here so you can see my majestic mustache in all of its glory.
But this one's weird. It feels still, like undisturbed water. Quiet like it's asleep. Basically, nothing is disturbing it.
That's interesting.
If I had to describe it, I'd say it's like a reverberation left behind when the dark tide slams headfirst into
So the waves are weathering.
On its own, it's not as dangerous as the dark tide. But if it got mixed with another forte and stirred up, well, who knows what kind of explosion of power that could cause.
Angel. And the dark tide. Understood. Let's go, Rover. Time to meet our prey.
Oh, it's gonna be
I'll tell the
Angel, and it'll
others
be
to
super
meet at the
sad.
location.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like after the Frolova quest, it's gonna be real hard to make me want to weep. Because that shit was fucked up. That shit was a war crime of sadness. They were evil for doing that to people.
Please hurry, everyone.
The anchor stone must be in place.
Before the Sovereign's hunt.
So I don't trust Avidia still. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna show us do now is doing.
Forgive me, but
Astute elder.
Your place, Avidius.
Now I'm confused. They're making it seem like he's not a baddie, and that he is in fact a goodie, even.
Is that so?
Never mind, he's got an angy face.
Perhaps you'd like to remind me, my lord.
You must be aware of your rather underwhelming performance during the Tyrannos hunt.
See, the thing is, it wasn't underwhelming. Because during the hunt, Augusta stepped in and killed it, or sliced its horn or whatever, sure, but like... He was doing fine, and the only thing that caught him off guard was the rhino thingy going... And then, but like, you know, the like head priestess got caught off guard by the goop. And remember, the T-Rex is afraid of the goop. So the goop is better than the T-Rex. And if the T-Rex is worse than that, so it's like it scales, right? So he's not quite head priestess, so I guess they're expecting him to be like Yuno level, maybe. But he shouldn't be Yuno level. He's just some fucking senator's rich-ass son, little fortunate son. That'll play the fucking music and fly the Hueys.
Is not boundless.
I'm having a stroke. I feel like I am in sleep deprivation matched with some amount of energy that's coming from somewhere. Sorry, I'm gonna focus on the game. My bad.
As Septimon's next ruler.
The Senate's patience is not boundless. It's reserved for those who deserve it. Unless you can present a triumph to match your exploits at Main's Deep, you'll have no choice but to reconsider. Okay.
Wake up, Avidius. Isn't Murmurstown the very place where your glory began? That, Avidius, is your true arena.
Okay.
And here you are, entangled in Augusta's petty concerns, when you could be seizing something far greater.
How very amusing, Lord Falco.
Oh, his name's Falco? That doesn't bode well.
You seek a ruler strong enough to lead, yet pliable
He
enough
plays
to
Smash.
You'd have better luck
Not a
finding
fan.
needle
Not a fan. Not a Falco guy.
Were I in your position, I'd keep my mouth shut. If Septimont falls, so will your ambitions. And allow me to remind you. I entered Main's Deep because I had no other choice, and my duty as a gladiator demanded it. The blood I shed, the blade I wielded, these were proof of loyalty, not entertainment for the lords. If that's how you see it, then perhaps it is I who should reconsider this alliance.
How dare you!
Ha! Got some grit, eh? Haven't let ambition cloud your mind. I like that. Falco? What are you... Watch out!
Did he knock you out?
He may be under the Hollow Figure's influence. Judging by his behavior, the Dark Tide has already corrupted his mind.
That's not good.
The Anchor Stone is nearly in place. Sir Hercule, would you please take Lord Falco to rest?
That's a cool name. I like Hercule. That's a cool name. I'm gonna screenshot that.
This isn't far from the entrance to Main's Deep. I remember
4%.
finding a zona nearby. It's a herb that helped my companions and me resist the Dark Tide's corruption.
Okay.
Lord Falco has paid for his pride. But as a former hero, he deserves a death free from the Dark Tide's torment. I will do what I can to help. Sir Hercule, please look after him. I'll bring the herb back. I promise it won't take long. Don't worry.
All right. You go do what you believe is right.
Okay, so Avidius is looking not so sus now, maybe? I can't pin on him. I don't know. I still just don't trust him.
How could it be?
How could what be?
No. It must be the Dark Tide's illusion. This wall. No. It can't be.
My fellow gladiators, our prey has finally revealed itself. Move to the marked coordinates. It's time to hunt.
What? Are we gonna have to kill him? Is it gonna trap him? Is him's the problem? The fucking balding brand? I mean, I know they're a problem, but like, is that what's going on? Defeat Lady of the Squee. Okay. Scorching iron dust. And cycle into silence. Release me, parasite. I do not have time for talk.
There is much talk.
This is the place. The smell's getting stronger.
That's good.
No traces of the Sovereign. It must be hiding again.
3% battery.
We must force it to show itself.
Oh my god, I'm forcing
Perhaps
it.
this could work.
Because it's scared of Bo. Makes sense. Sword. And big sword. Okay, so goop.
Over there.
Ooh. It's a good looking little TD little guy. Oh, false sovereign. Yeet! I thought I dodged that. I thought I dodged that.
In control.
Hopefully this helps. Wind rises. One more time.
Ouch.
We'll face judgment. Bad timing.
What just happened? Did I not just get my ass kicked? I didn't get it kicked so hard I lost. This is not how that fight was going. I admire the cutscene. Like, or I'm thankful for it making me not look as shit, but this is not how it was going. This is more in line with how it was going. Okay, Avidius is out. I don't know where he managed to come from. Oh, damn, he got hit hard. Rip whatever that thing was. Oh, and it goes back to the tree. I should maybe stop talking and just let people enjoy this. Oh, fuck, the tide's here. Oh, he's sucky. Okay. Oh, no, Gok is at its limit. Oh, they flooded his shit. That's not good. Feet, toes? Avidius? Are you gonna save the day? Was I wrong all along? I just keep rhyming. They just keep rattling off. I hope this comes out looking somewhat decent, man. I'll say if this stream comes out with like dog piss quality and like color in the video download, I'm gonna have one, some strong words to say tomorrow, and then two, I'm gonna have to figure something out. Maybe download like, or keep like a local recording at like 15K bit rate or something on a spare drive I've got. But that's gonna hurt performance. Then it's turn down the fucking quality. I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. But my belly is full.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm so tired.
Alright, get some sleebies. Yuno's back! And they didn't show feet in the first frame. That's weird. They didn't show it in the second frame. Or the third. Or the fourth. Or the fifth. Or the sixth. Seventh. Surely the seventh will show feet. Alright.
This European refuse shall now become the blade that strikes you down. To spawn a divine gift is to invite consequence. And divinity offers mercy but once.
Cool quote.
Augusta! Augusta!
Why was she scared?
You know,
Oh, she's scared of voice.
Like this.
Voice is top of food chain.
All able units, split into 2 teams. One will escort the wounded back to base, while the other prepares supplies and maintains position.
I have something on my fucking eyeball somewhere. It's itchy. It feels like a bug. There are bugs in my skin. I've got bugs in my skin. It's like the scene from The Mummy.
I got a bad feeling just now, and Tessus won't stop pumping out alerts. warriors. For the Sovereign, it's like having a free buffet.
Buffet?
And sure enough, you blink, and it's already swallowed up all the surrounding frequencies. Now it's a real nightmare. That said, the situation's bad, no doubt, but we're not out of moves yet. The dark tide isn't spreading at full speed. If we act fast and find the Sovereign's weak spot, we might just pull a miracle for Renacita.
How so? And welcome back, Crimson. Nice to see you back. Just in time for the bugs. The bugs in our skin.
Frequencies and unstable structures. Looks like after stuffing itself with all those frequencies, the Sovereign's completely scrambled inside. If we can stir up the mess in its gut, even with something small, we might just throw him off balance. And then maybe we can wrest the Earth-rent wedge and readjust it.
Ruh-roh, Reggie, we're out of Rentel.
Terrible timing. Is there any other way to reach her?
It's the dark tide. The entire frequency range is under its control. In other words, we're completely cut off here.
That's not good.
How vexing.
Indeed. They've not shown your feet in like 5 minutes.
If we feed that monster something else. Right. The anchor stone.
You're suggesting we let the Sovereign absorb the Anchor Stone. If it works, it could suppress it from the inside.
Maybe. I don't know.
Very sharp. But before we act, there are 2 things we need to prepare. First, we need to get the Sovereign to open up and swallow the Anchor Stone like a good boy.
Aw,
That's
good
what
boy.
we all knew in Augusta, Rover. Second, the dark tide itself must be stabilized to keep the Sovereign nice and solid. My job, naturally. No one else is fit for the task.
Okay.
No.
All right.
The Sovereign is far stronger than before. And you've only just...
Oh yeah, she cares for her girlfriend. That's good.
no way
You should always watch out for
can take on that much
girlfriends.
resonance
Where is this hair? There he goes.
I'm not made of glass, Augusta.
Yeah, you're made of toes. 10 of them.
I am Yuno, the most gifted priestess Septimont has seen in generations. If anyone can hold back the dark tide, it's me. And I'm not going to fall on you that easily. Besides, the sacred flames already showed me my end. In the warmth of spring, surrounded by white flowers, with gentle eyes watching over me. But that day is still far from today.
Why is it like autumn? So you at least have a few months?
I'll just need more time to recover. Everything's going to be all right. I promise.
Tentacles, you're right.
Then it's settled. I'll let you prepare. Just give me a signal when you're near the Earth Render. I won't be able to hold the Sovereign's form for long, so make the most of that window.
Alright, windowing it. Oh, yep, there goes the phone. Damn.
Did you forget anything?
Alright, let's see if the other one's charged. I'm fixing it. I am repairing it. Expecto reparo my buttholo. If I hollow out my butt on stream, do I get to be a member of HoloLive? About have the camera ready. Sorry. After seeing the response speed out of Wi-Fi, I think I have an idea on how to stop this from ever happening again. But I'll have to test it at a later date. Like after stream, I guess. Yeah, I forgot to test the captions. I don't know how they're working, or if they even work at all. Okay, testing out captions, like live captions real quick. It looks like there's a pretty insane delay. And it seems to be getting the words incorrect pretty often. Now that I say that, it seems to be working. It may just not be attuned to my voice. I'll probably have to run something like a Google model that I train on my voice or something. Or maybe an OpenAI solution. I don't know. Right now, this is the Microsoft one and it's not working. Holy fuck, yeah, that is way off. Yeah, closed captions, not a good thing. Is the camera back on? Yep, we got a camera. Cool deal. Alright, back to the game.
Useful, isn't it? Keep it close. No matter where you go, a part of me goes with you.
Kinky! Just like Frorovy. Rep in pieces. We killed her.
Since I've given you a tool so practical, I'll ask something in return. Just one thing.
Come back alive. Suck on my toes.
Promise me you'll stay by Augusta's side and face whatever destiny sets upon you, together. This isn't a command or a suggestion, it's a personal request.
Yeah, sure.
Only you can do this. You know. I think I understand what the unknowable void in your fate really means.
Beep. They're back. They're back. Where's Magnum? He wanted feet, didn't he? There's some dogs for you. Bark, 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 bark.
It's not nothingness, Rover. All along, it's represented a future that can't be defined by anything but your own will. As long as that void exists, you control your story. Your existence is the meaning itself. So please, support Augusta with everything you have. I've seen how much she trusts you. So trust her in return. No matter what happens, you are not to doubt her in the slightest.
I didn't plan on it, but sure.
That's the spirit. All right, you two. Stop standing around and get moving. The sooner you settle this, the sooner I get to leave
You're
this
just
boring
sitting
place.
on a wet... Okay. I guess wet ass is just for everybody.
You know, one last question. For someone without an unwritten fate, is it true they can never break free, no matter how hard they struggle?
Feet cams are back.
Don't know.
Oh.
That's all right. Let's go, Rover.
All right. Let's diddly do this. Let's finish the fight, Halo 3. How do I... Ooh, the horn's sounding again. That's cool. Am I really that slouched? I guess I was.
Wait, Augusta! I've been thinking. Our final fate might already be written, but how we walk that path is up to us. We as humans are meant to carve our own way forward.
Good line.
If we can't rewrite fate, then we chase it, outpace it. Then when we catch up, we'll smack it right in the face. Don't forget what you once said. A ruler assumes their place by accomplishing the impossible for their subjects.
Feet, so you know she's serious.
Let's head to the borders of Merma's Town, Rover.
Yeah, let's see what the fuck's up with the Vidius.
Look, Hollow. I saw it.
Okay.
Main's deep. It doesn't exist.
Excuse me?
Is it because of me?
What?
My memories. No.
So there was never a Main's Deep. So his whole experience and like his claim to glory was fucking fake the whole time? He just had memories written into his head? Which I don't know if that changes much, but what the fuck does that even mean? Why did they make that a side point? That should be like main shit. What do you mean? Alright, let's go to the stone. Let's get stoned. The journey ahead allows no retreat. Are you ready? Not yet. We can't afford to gamble. Actually. This is really dumb. This is really dumb.
Understood.
Really dumb.
I am here to serve your will.
Get some, Okay. No, I did not mean to click on that. Okay. Nothing. That's fine. Alright, now I'm ready. I'm ready for a fight that we can't retreat from. They prepared me. Departi. Onward to our death, or we shall march. Slash it into pieces.
Cut my life into pieces.
Pooling mentioned even something small could have a great influence. Come, stand with me to face our reckoning.
All right, let's go die.
Let this
Yeah.
thing pry open the cracks in fate's door.
I have a missed phone call. Hold on. Making sure it's not important. Volcano. If that's in Land of Plenty, I would say after Mavwika.
It's very much my companion now, bearing witness to everything I've experienced on this journey.
Phone call was not important. All right, let's do this.
Leave it to me. Hopefully this helps.
Wind rises. Good. The wicked will face judgment.
This is mine.
You think volcano before or after my Wuwa fight? Yeah, Sacred Mountain, I think. Is that Ochkanatlan? Or is that... Sacred Mountains where you... I don't... I'm trying to think of a way to clarify this without spoilers if you haven't done what I think you're talking or asking about. Because I want to say... Plenty Mountain. Yeah. I would do that after the Wuwa fight and everything like that. That would be the best way to do it. Because, I mean, one, that was the intended way to do it because it came out afterwards, but also what that covers, I think, is best done after Wuwa's fight and then the stuff that follows that main story-wise, I think. Because there's another thing that'll happen in Natlan that I feel like you kind of want to get out of the way. Because a lot of things are going to be... Actually, yeah, it's almost essential. Because a lot of the stuff it covers and talks about, like the volcano covers and talks about, is stuff that's... You'll get some context by doing the Wuwa stuff beforehand. So I would do that. Personally. It's up to you. But...
One strike is enough.
That was such a nuke, there wasn't even anything to watch get nuked. This is a really cool environment, though.
Honor cannot be sunk.
Begin.
Reanimated gladiators. I'm not ulting just for this shitterton.
Never back down.
Lightning.
Wind calls, waves follow.
That wasn't a pretty scream. That was quite terrifying, even. Defeat the Tassiat Discords and pass through Murmur's town.
Hopefully this wind howls.
Unfettered by bounds. Wind rises. The wicked will face judgment.
Conquest begins now. Invincible! Rulers rule! Winners win! Here it ends now!
Oh, back this way. Okay. It's Bo. Pretty. Pretty.
Go chase your fate, Augusta.
Okay. Oh, slide. Let's go. Oh, not all the way. Just about, but close. Feet. All right, what's going on? What's got you squidded? What wrong?
Just something on my mind.
What's on your mind?
Do you still remember what the Whispers told me 16 years ago? The dark tide answers only to strength. Those without it are doomed to be forsaken.
Yeah, they did say
Now
that.
I think of it. It is rather interesting.
Okay, what's interesting?
I've never told anyone this before.
Oh.
But ever since the dark tide decided to forsake me, those broken whispers have never left.
Okay, that is an interesting
They
little detail.
echoed in every battle, telling me when to dodge, when to strike. But with each opponent that fell, the whispers began to fade.
Is this PTSD? What the fuck? Hold on, let me grab something to put under my keyboard. My finger is in immense pain. Advantage to being a carpenter is lots of wood just lying around. Oh my god, he's wooding it! Can you believe it? Wood everywhere. I'm towing it. I'm towing it. You was there too. Ah, alright. Alright, back to the game. My bad.
Until I became the Ephor. That's when they returned. Louder, never giving me a single moment of peace.
That is bad.
I tried to shut them out. But every time I strayed from their guidance, fate would strike me down in the cruelest of ways.
Am I going crazy? I feel like the audio's flipping left and right.
I thought I was the master of my fate. But the truth is, they always knew the path better than I ever could.
Okay.
The old prophecy about Raguna that they once whispered to me has come true.
Hmm.
Now, it is time for me to put their power to the test.
Okay. I believe you.
Leave it to me.
Oh. We're gonna fight her.
What? What exactly do you want to do, Augusta?
I think she's gonna fucking body us, my dude. I don't think we stand a chance.
The wicked will face judgment. Wind howls, unfettered by bounds.
Oh, we're fucked.
One of the prophecies speaks of a hero of heroes. As I see it, you, Rover, fit that image well.
As long as that void exists, you control your story. Your existence is the meaning itself.
So this is her plan. Using this battle to mark me a hero of heroes so the temple's prophecy will be fulfilled. Augusta.
What? Using this battle to mark me a hero of heroes so the temple's prophecy will be fulfilled. How is that? I don't understand. I don't understand.
Everything, Rover. I have realized this is the duty I must fulfill. Ha! That's it. Show me your strength. The one to stand beside me for the throne is you. And only you.
Keep it together.
Yeah, we're getting fucking bodied here. There's just no fucking shot, dude. I know we're kind of winning this, but that's just pure fucking fan servicey bullshit.
I am the Tempest.
Genshin moment, it didn't hit. I guess it helps that we're a healer right now. That's cool for him. Oh fuck. Oh shit, she got fucked.
Resist no longer. Do not waver. Step forward and receive the divine gift. With this power, you shall rise as the one true ruler of Septimont.
And glory return with the blood of the old king. You proved the prophecy true. So why now? Why this sudden urgency to stop me from fulfilling it? Unless I was your target all along. That power you spoke of was always just a trap. Answer me. Who are you? And
how foolish.
I didn't mean to cut her off. My bad.
The will of the divine is not to be questioned. Alas, my puzzle too small to comprehend the grand vision.
Rover, what is stopping you from being Septimon's hero of heroes? You, the unwritten one, are blessed to shape your own fate. And I must walk my own path as ruler. Go, fulfill the prophecy that was always meant to be. I give my blood, so that the true hero may rise.
I'm lost. I don't get it. I'm confused.
Receive the judgment of the heavens. The sacred crucible shall reshape your soul.
Fool. I already said Raguna's divinity didn't get a seat on the ship.
So what did Renodi do? I know that's a really stupid thing. I kind of get what's going on, but not really. I know that was more metaphorical.
But we're not done just yet.
Insolent heretic. If this is what you want, we shall grant you an endless peace of despair.
My sword.
Kato.
Where's my sword?
What haunts you, my teacher?
A hero shouldn't fall to the dark tide. I need my sword to fight back.
Please, take it. Take it and fight for what you believe in.
Thankless empathy.
Let's go. Please. I'm begging you, your blood, your flesh.
I don't understand what's happening.
Left with nothing. How wrong you are.
My lady.
People follow.
Allow me to join you.
For it never fails to light their way. This is how I rule. I will show you with my own fist!
Nice. I'm still fucking confused. So Goop is scared of stone, and she was holding stone and it ate her, and then she blew it up from the inside, but now it's here to fight both of us?
We meet again, my friend. It seems my will won't let me miss a chance to fight side by side with you. Come, Rover. I've been waiting for this moment. Never back down.
Bad timing.
Did I just get her killed?
Hopefully this helps.
No. Fucking pulled it, or cut it close, though. This camera is sucking ass right now, though. It needs to be a lot more aggressive than it is.
The wicked will face judgment. Waves rise. Judgment strikes.
Conquest begins now. Pathetic struggle. Invincible. Roars of conquest.
It would be really nice if this camera wasn't sucking ass. Feel like I'm playing Dark Souls.
Wind calls, waves follow.
Fight by my side. Stand tall.
Okay, we got some main dick.
true battle should be. Robert, fight by my side.
I'm working on it. You know what's not on our side? The fucking camera. The camera is a paid actor by the full sovereign, man. He doesn't want us to win. It's fucking canon.
Judgment strikes.
It's Nikon. I just want to shoot Sony. Fuck off.
Is mine. Moment of victory. In control.
Wind calls, waves follow.
Oh god, it's got the 10 toes for the tentacles. Oh fuck, that hit hard. It hit hard. It towed it. It showed me gears I didn't know I had.
Fight by my side.
We did it. Victory feats. I mean, Screech. Goopy.
Spirits lost to the dark tide. I hear your cries. Join me in battle. Let that false divinity witness what true heroes are. What it means to wield unshakable power!
We ride with Roar.
Okay.
May applause greet you, heroes of Septimont.
In the storms are tides of blood and sand. Your sword stitches our land. So I'm standing here with the brave belong.
A hard-won battle, wasn't it? Yes. It's all thanks to you, Rover. Septimon's hero of heroes.
The fuck did he do? He did nothing. He did nothing. All he did was, he was a healer, sure. But no one remembers the bard in the party. No one remembers bardic inspiration. Everyone gives a shit about the fucking, like, paladin that, like, gleep glorped some dude's skull in and won the campaign.
As the prophecy goes, the hero of heroes, wielding extraordinary power, rising from the dark tides. As I
Yeah,
see it,
exactly.
you, Augusta.
She's fit every fucking
that
bill.
image well.
Everyone was bullshit wrong about her being weak, and then herself is wrong about being weak, and also fucking. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm confused. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I do think I've earned that title. And it's one we could share together.
Sure.
Besides, the temple never said there could only be one hero of heroes.
That's fair. Fuck the church. Yeah. Yeah, the temple was wrong.
What really happened to you in the dark tide? I thought you might have.
It wasn't a pleasant experience. But if you want to hear the full story, I'll tell you another time. But back inside the dark tide, I think the lost frequencies were always guiding me, shaping who I was becoming. Even trapped in that abyss of despair, those fallen heroes never gave up. They lit a faint, warm light in the dark for me. And you, along with everyone who stood by me. Without you, we couldn't have won this battle. Perhaps the title of ruler is too narrow and too hollow to define the true spirit of humankind.
Sure. I'm still under the very strong impression that I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Of brave souls. It was never meant to be one person's medal of honor.
Good game series.
I want to ask you something.
I wish the franchise wasn't dead.
Why did you ask me to join the hunt?
Because you're a Regirock. Ooh, pretty.
Because my warriors and I wanted to fight beside someone like you. And that hasn't changed. But I will be honest. Part of it was because of your unwritten fate.
I mean, that makes sense.
I'd
if he contributed anything, it was that.
A long time. At first, all we had were a few vague glimpses from the priestesses and a handful of prophetic murals. No one knew when or how the disaster would strike. And then you showed up. You've surely seen the unfinished mural in the temple.
Oh, the unknowable void. That's the prophecy, is that there's a void in the middle. And that's why he fits in, because he was there the whole time in the prophecy. It all makes sense. No, I can't wait for the next line to either immediately validate the thought that I just had, or two, prove me completely fucking wrong and an idiot. And in which case I would be, honestly, I don't really give a shit, but I would be upset.
So I took a gamble, believing you were the key to this hunt.
Never mind.
I couldn't explain it back then, not when I wasn't certain myself. But in the end, we realized what that blank represents. And my gamble paid off. The one who deserves to be a hero of heroes, with power over the Earthrend Wedge. Thank you for your trust.
She looks a lot better without the crown thingy, not gonna lie.
Now it's time for me to honor my promise. This is the end of our journey. The Earthrend Wedge. It hasn't been quite what I expected, but I'm very glad we made it this far together.
Imperator.
Go. I'll wait for you here.
Oh. Okay. Bonk. Was ist das?
A discoid.
All right.
This warmth. I feel you, Imperator.
That's kinky.
I better get back.
A Discoid. It sounds like uwu speech for joining a Discord. You join my Discord? Please?
A discoid. Looks like a compass.
Does it point squirth? That's just straight up clipping through. It is just straight up clipping through that. It's clipping it. It's clipping it. It is clipping it. It's definitely clipping it. Maybe it needs to come down. Maybe the center little doodle diddle daddle needs to come down a little bit.
There might be a hidden compartment inside. Can you try opening it?
Sure. No, never mind. You should try butt chugging it.
If this relic was left by the Sentinel, brute force won't get us anywhere. We'll need a different approach. Maybe a special key, a mechanism, or a password? Any ideas?
There's a friend of mine who, well, she knows a lot about Imperator.
Oh, just straight bare feet. Okay. Hello. Hello, Fleur-de-Lis. How are you? I'd recognize those toes anywhere.
Her powers are unique. The Earthrender's holding back the Dark Tide for now. But those sudden outbreaks and the way it's fixated on you, it's not just a coincidence. If anyone can put an end to the Dark Tide's threat in Septimont, it's her.
Sounds like someone worth meeting.
Absolutely.
Do introduce me later. I'm curious what kind of person she is.
Oh, you're gonna be so surprised.
But one thing I'm sure of, she must be a formidable opponent, and a figure to be respected. Like you.
You have no idea.
You two share a lot in common, actually. I think you'd get along. I'll reach out to her once we're back. She wasn't able to travel before due to some unavoidable reasons. But now, I think the timing's right.
Hopefully we get to see that in this version, and I don't have to wait another 3 months to see that.
Right. Let's set all this aside and enjoy the victory we've earned.
That said, they put an insane amount of content in just this quest, so completely okay if that's the case.
It's time to return
if there isn't one, like it is well beyond the realm of me being able to ask for more, I think.
We won this battle, but the war
Like
is
reasonably,
far from over.
you know what I mean? Gamers will fucking beg for goddamn everything no matter what,
But with you, and everyone who stood beside us, the banner of Septimont will never fall. With the eternal sun as my witness, the name of hero belongs to you all.
Oh, hell yeah, let's go, Crimson! Let me know how it goes. Oh, if I can find the loop point so I could Alt F10 this and make it a wallpaper engine, that would be hype. I'm trying to find like a certain particle or something that I could like track. Oh, it's a really short loop. It's like all of maybe 1 or 2 seconds. It's like 2 or 3 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That is a really weird way to say that you sent me a dick pic, Crimson. Just saying. Is the concern that you're missing 3? It's gonna be really funny when it actually has no effect and everyone on Reddit was lying to you. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, fuck, it's the playwright. Oh, and he's grabbing Avidius's little titty marker. Oh, and he's got the mask on. And we all know the mask stays on during sex.
My near perfect protagonist. I must confess, even I didn't see this coming.
Wait, was Avidius? Was Avidius the protagonist?
Should this be your final act? No. No, allow me to
I was right to not trust him, but he's not inherently a bad person. He's just being playwritten.
The quill of fate.
And that's why his memories are fucked up. He didn't pull off Main's Deep. He didn't pull off Main's Deep. That makes so much sense. He's overwritten everyone else to think that that guy has, like, accomplished a bunch of shit, but he really fucking hasn't. That's also why he can't pull off more than people expect of him, because he's not that guy.
After all, it's the stories that sink deepest into the mire that stir the heart most. Don't you think?
He does have a nice mask. Dude, like I said, playwrights and bards, and just in general, are fucking broken in this universe. Because they can go any direction now. Now that Cristoforo's involved. Oh, shit. That's a nice gun you got there.
It's been a while, Rinesita.
Who the fuck are you?
What prey do we hunt this time?
Good voice.
The Trenodian.
I really like that gun. Trenodian. The Trenodian. The Trenodian. She's Threnoding it. Well, where's the bonfire? I was told there would be a giant pyre. A massive fire. A ring of it, even. Oh, we unlock Scales of the Past. That's good. We're gonna want to do that. League moment, burning higher and higher. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hold on. Look at how precious. Look at how adorable. Look at how perfect the boy is. He is so cute. Yes. So phenomenal looking. So cute and adorable. Alright, what did I do to do that? I feel like I knocked something else over. Or made some other drastic change. Oh yeah, I changed my fucking camera. Back to the game. Damn. I need stimulants. I'm stimulating it. I am stimulating it. I am stimulating it. Oh shit, yeah, that's right. We got the S4. Yeah.
As we head toward our shared future.
Resonant skill damage bonus by 15%. Okay, I mean, that's not nothing, I guess. Podcast. Is it a weekly or a seasonal? Seasonal. 2K. All right. Do we have enough for a wish? We do. Yeah, nothing. That's fine. But what we do care about is the webbing. We want webbing. No. Damn. That's okay, though. So 18 more days. That's roughly 18 wishes left. Or 18 pulls left. So 18 more pulls, and we're at 36 pity. So we're not quite making it to soft pity off of that alone, but we also have all the events and exploration bonuses to go. So, I mean, there's a chance we end up with the 5-star weapon, but we'll see. Okay, timid asses is not... timid asses. Teapot. Oh, like in Genshin? Yeah, I do. What I haven't done this week is Escoffier's food dish thingy. I need to do that. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. It is weird. It is very weird. There's like delay and no voice and silence. Dude, it's even fucking weirder here. I hear nothing. I have to read it. I don't think that's how that works. Because one, I'm not, and two, good God, that's... I don't even know where to begin to dissect this. I don't know if this says something about you, or streaming culture, or me, or all of it. Alright, so we're taking photos for the old lady of some dude that died. Got it. Or are there easier challenges, or should I say more fun ones? Let's see. No rewards. 20. 2020. That'd be 60. 60. That's a lot of effort for just 60 asteroids. How far off are we, though? That wouldn't add up to the effort. But this will give 180, which is more than one wish, which is worth our time. At least for the time being. Unless it becomes something that's not worth our time, and in which case, unfortunate. A pretty tree. He had good taste in trees. I feel like there's a way to make that photo so much prettier. Well, the game did it for me. Thank you. Oh, it's right next to us. That's nice. Did he break a girl's heart? Oh, nope. That's his sister. Nope, it's his friend. but he got her parents killed. That's cool. That's like Spider-Man shit. You knew exactly what I was thinking. Good thing Ash isn't here.
Brad salutes you.
Okay, we were thinking different things, but that is good advice. I am fucking doing the flop.
That's some attack. Together we howl! Ooh, now's the second half. A shame. A warrior.
Okay. Fuck you.
Listen carefully. The climax of the show.
Oh, did we just crash? Oh, we may have just crashed. Yeah, we crashed. UE4, fatal error. Damn it. That's cringe. That's really cringe. That's turbo cringe. That's what I get for getting distracted. Well, I guess while I wait for it to relaunch, I'm gonna run to the restroom, which means your favorite screen. Yeah. Alright, be right back. Whew. All right. Also, if Magnum's still here, make sure you have low latency mode enabled if you're like super far behind, like oddly far behind. That might have been what was causing it earlier. If that was a question. I don't know if it was. I can't really remember. Okay, I'm gonna run the fuck away from this thing though. Whew. We've had quite a few unique viewers hop into the stream today. Even the other days too. I think we had like 10 unique viewers during yesterday's, which was kind of neat. You're in the shower. You're showering it? I mean, that's kind of kinky. Ooh, this is gonna be a pretty photo. Bloop. Yeah, that's a pretty one. Oh, I just realized I didn't switch it over. I'll do that in a second. I'm gleeping it. I am glorping it. Glorps are gleebing, gleebing and glorbing. We're all glorp. We're at 32 dropped frames. That's half a second if you've been watching over the last 3 hours. Not terrible, but less than ideal. Let me try something real quick, just test it out. So no dropped frames there. None there. None there. Weird. So damn weird. I do math in my head. Today's the 30th. Okay. Where is my phone? There it is. Okay. Let's do a weapon banner 10 pull. Maybe get lucky. What did I fucking tell you? What did I fucking tell you? Hopefully that was on the right weapon banner. Hell yeah. What a good looking sword. Damn, that's a cool looking sword. Alright. And now everything else we get is saving for Which, how are we doing on that? Because we're gonna want Yuno and Chacona. So guaranteed would be like 320 wishes to guarantee both of them, which isn't going to happen, but if I could at least get like 100, 150. And we are at character banner pity of... So that'd be 20 away from soft. Oh wait, no, to guarantee we got both of those characters would be... Yeah, 320 to guarantee both, and we're gonna want probably both of their fucking signatures. Which is rough. Which is really rough. I don't know. We'll see.
To which stage will life...
Where my blade leads, triumph follows.
How much can we afford to upgrade it by? Probably not much. Certainly not much. Yeah, it's gonna chew through resources. Yeah, we've got to get more Shellys. We're so low on Shellys. We do have enough to go get some Shellys, though. Let's go grab some Shellys. Where the hell are Shellys at? Isn't there one? Yeah. We'll go grab some Shellys. Ooh. I think I'm about streamed out for the night. Kind of want to watch Lord of Mysteries. And yeah, I do really like the weapon banner system in this game. Yeah, Lord of Mystery sounds really good. I can't wait to watch it. Hopefully no one's like busy doing something really cringe, like taking a shower in the year of 2025. Oh god, you're still showering? What the fuck? You're not supposed to be showering? Why would you still be showering? What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you depressed? Why have you been in the shower for so long? It's not normal to be in the shower that long. Like, not even at all. Not even close. You need to get out of the shower, man. Wait, why am I checking this? I need to check this.
To which stage will life guide...
Where my blade leads, triumph follows.
Yeah, we're gonna have to build her later. Right now, let's focus on Shorky.
I am here to serve.
Maybe. Maybe we focus on Shorky. What does ascending you do? Quite literally, fuck all. The weapon upgrade is pretty big though. But we need to farm pieces for it. That sucks. Energy regen of 218. Hell yeah. Imperator's Relic. Okay. Sweet. Alright, so we have obtained 3 characters and 2 signature weapons, as well as 2 standards, one of them actually good and one the fucking worst of the bunch. So as far as this version's concerned, an insane success. There is a good chance we can save enough for there's a really good chance we can save enough for at least one character on the next banner. And it'll just, I guess, come down to which team I feel like needs the most. I'm gonna... I would think that Cartethia would want Chacona more than Augusta's going to want Yuno. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but if I had to choose between the two, I would think Chacona. Plus, Chacona's rerunning, so it's less likely to see her again, as opposed to Yuno, who will probably rerun quite soon. Yeah. Ow. Let's go do this. And true. Very true on the feet. Oh, it's right behind us. Convenient. I want to see if I can get this shorekeeper shit to work well.
To which stage will life
73, 203, 7.
The power I alone, the power to speak.
Yeah, Cartethia needs Helpatitis help. Bloop, 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 bloop.
I alone will decide.
I will be there for everyone.
Yeah, we've got some cursed
I alone will
builds.
decide whether it's for
Carlotta needs so much more love. I know we just got these characters, but I really gotta grind out some stuff. Verena, I'm kind of ashamed of myself for not fully leveling her out. I didn't quite realize that I'd put her off that much. Yeah, even her fucking shit here. Yeah. Building a lot of characters at once in a gacha is suicidal at best.
Leave it to me. Loading. In war with time.
Applaud for me!
Let's see if this looks good on stream. I would be surprised and impressed.
Let the flames rise!
84,
To which stage will
225
life guide us next?
with 4,000 attack. So yeah, we are getting a little bit of a buff out of Shorekeeper. She's not maxed out whatsoever. She's still low on ER. But we are getting a pretty good buff on Brant and Gang, so that's good. That's really good, actually. $229, that's pretty good.
Leave it to me. Loading. Iron graft you knew. Diminish.
Still fast enough to get off a good loop of hit. Alright, let's get some birds. Alright, surely that gave us something big. Oh no, just 3. Okay. All in music. Now what was back here? Yeah, I saw a mark for something. What is it? What are you? Who are you? What is this? What do you want? Talk to function. Holy shit, the sky is fucking gorgeous. Man, they crush the skies in this game, man. Oh, and the city off in the distance and that ray tracing just... Dude, it looks so good. It looks so good. Like, offensively good. Where's the fucking camera? Give me the camera. Okay, I have an idea. I need to... Yeah, bug it. Let's go... Yeah, I need to be over that way more. Ideally. Even more would be nicer. Even more would be nicer. Where's the angle I want? It's somewhere here. I just don't know where yet. Probably right here. I'm just gonna guess it's right here. Oh. Yeah, that's what I was wanting. Kinda. But not quite, but kinda. actually, if I were to go over to the side a little bit, I could line that up with the... Yeah, right here? Maybe? Aw, damn it. The time of day would fucking change just now. Alright. I need to remember this angle. Midnight, maybe? Is the sky I'm looking for? It is not. Oh, now we get that moon? That's a pretty moon. And now we get this moon back. Okay, so it's based on where I'm at. I got it. I see. Okay. So I would want to speed run over here. Wait, how did I get that sky? How did I get the sky I just had? Once I get this photo, I'm gonna cut stream, but right now I really want to get this fucking photo lined up. Yeah, right here. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
In my previous match, I slipped and left an opening, but my opponent failed to notice. He gradually lost his advantage. And here, he started
I wish I could get further out. Man, if I had like a wider angle lens, that would be so sick.
I knocked him down with a single blow.
Okay, so we went to 9 p.m. to get the moon where I wanted it. So I need to go to 9 p.m. again. Or 2100. If I'm not being a dumbass. That can't count to 24.
In my previous match, I slipped and left an opening, but my opponent failed to notice. He gradually lost his advantage.
Yeah, I don't like that one as much.
And here, he started to panic until... I knocked him down with a single blow.
I'm gonna tag this place here. No, there's no way that's gonna be right where I want it to be, but it is what it is. Well, we got the photo I wanted, kinda, sorta, kinda. Also, if you're still here, Crimson, look at this cute little horn. He's a big old horn with a big old tail and little legs. I guess not so little legs, big legs, massive legs even. Good horn. Very good horn sound. Oh, what a good horn sound. Is there no, like, after? Yeah, there's no afterword for that quest. Which is strange. I would have thought there would be. I feel like there's a lot of stuff to clear up. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for Wowies today. At least until I can, Actually, yeah, I don't really know much else that I could do. Because the stamina recharge rate, we just have to wait for more wave plates. But we'll be back probably this time tomorrow, I suppose. Yeah, I need to, once I get this VOD downloaded off of Twitch, I need to see if it's ruined the colors like it has on the last two. I need to remember to do that. Because I'm gonna be a little sad if it did. Because it was just so damn pretty today. Because the stream, from what I can tell, like on my laptop, with the stream open earlier, like on the stream over, or the stream manager, it looks phenomenal. Same with the phone. But yeah. Alright. Oh, good sending away music.
In my previous
Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Luba, I'm trying to say goodbye. Yes, I know you slipped and found an opening. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Get some sleep if you're the kind that sleeps. If you're on gremlin hours, you know, do gremlin things. But other than that, yeah. Pretty good. Wuwa stream. Pretty good quest. I feel like the story was a little confusing, but that might be just on me, so I'm not going to fault it too much. The quality's still there and everything else was phenomenal. It looks fucking amazing. It was fun to play. Really cool mechanics. Really flexing what the Unreal Engine can do. Pretty much everything that you want. Got lucky and got the weapon pretty damn early. I think that was at like 36 to 44-ish pity. So, not bad. Because soft pity is at like 60, 65, I think. So, got it early. Weapon banner in this game, not a scam. That's the lesson of today, is gamble, get it twisted. You'll always come out on top. The casino never wins. The house always loses. And statistics are just fucking made up. They're just not real. Just not real. Don't trust them. Don't believe them. They're just lies. They're lies spread by the government to keep you from gambling and